Okay, I am Chris Avino with American Outdoor News Podcast. I'm here with Regina Lennox from Safari Club International. Regina, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Now, I know there's so many things that we can discuss. First and foremost, I'd like to get out of the way the name, Safari Club International. It's got a connotation that, oh, safari, you just take care of things in Africa. But it's so much more than that. You take care of topics in North America, South America. It's, you're dealing with elk, you're dealing with deer, you're dealing with so many, the gray wolf, so many topics. There's just a misconception on the name.
There is, but I also think some of that comes from just how people interpret safari. So safari is actually a Swahili word, but it just means journey. And so to me, Safari Club is the perfect name because all of our members are on a journey to go out, to observe animals, to hunt them, to be out in the natural environment. And so, we being sort of Americans and English have put this connotation of safari as this African hunt. But really, if you go out in your backyard in your deer stand, you've journeyed from your house out there and you're on this expedition to observe and hunt wildlife. But to your point, Chris, you're 100% right. We represent every species everywhere with every lawful method of harvest, and most of that and almost everything I do is here in the U.S. And many people don't realize just how much our hunting rights and hunting heritage are challenged here. Mm-hmm. And so Safari Club is first for hunters. That's our tagline, and we stand up and we make sure that we keep hunting secure.
You do, and you do a lot of lobbying, and you have offices in Washington, D.C., and you recently opened the Center for Conservation and Education. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can't wait to tell you about that. So Safari Club launched last week the SCI Center for Conservation Law and Education. And one of the best kept secrets, which kills me about Safari Club, is that we have had for almost 40 years, a legal program. So I am one of SCI's in-house attorneys who go to court, be it in Alaska or Florida or Maine or Wyoming or Texas or wherever it needs to be, to defend hunting access, to protect certain types of harvest or methods of harvest, because that gets challenged a lot. Mm-hmm. To try to open up hunting opportunities if they've been closed or could potentially be closed. And so we've had this legal program and nobody really knows about it. And we are a handful of attorneys against straight up legions of animal rights and anti-hunting attorneys. There's over 400 attorneys on the other side that I can think of off the top of my head that do things like challenge the removal of gray wolf from the Endangered Species Act list. Mm-hmm. Safari Club's been fighting that fight since 2003, since the very first case against these other organizations. But we haven't promoted that aspect of what we do. Yeah. We also have, as you said, we have a Washington, D.C. office. We run a lot of educational programs for Hill staff and others out of that office. And we have state staff, state liaisons who go to state wildlife commissions and educate them on the importance of hunting as a conservation and management tool. So we've essentially taken those components of what we've already do and put them within the Center for Conservation Law and Education, which is a 501c3, which allows us to expand some of our programs, to expand the support that we receive, not just from our members, but from other people who may not be prepared to join SCI, but want to support what we do. We have you mentioned lobbying. We have over 100,000 advocates on our Hunter Advocacy Action Center. That's an email system where our members and advocates can send emails to state wildlife commissions, to members of Congress, to state legislators. We have 50,000 members. So we have 50,000 people right now who support us and support what we do and want to defend the right to hunt, but they haven't joined us yet. So we're hoping the center will allow us to tap into those people and get them more engaged.
Sure. Well, every voice matters in an organization. And, you had brought up the gray wolf. That's a ongoing fight that you guys have lobbied for and fought for. And, we're in a lifestyle that's diminishing. And they try to take it away at every chance they get. And, the gray wolf, reintroducing that has really posed a danger to farmers, cattle people. It's infringing on everyday life.
Yep. Well, and that's, the gray wolf is just one of those stories. I call it job security, essentially, but it's one of the clearest examples of why you need an organization like Safari Club, because
Yes.
we have been fighting the battles in court since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
We've been lobbying in Congress to get gray wolves delisted because try as we might, we can't seem to get it done in the courts. We work with the states to try to make sure that their wolf management plans are responsible, which is all part of the cycle of getting them delisted federally because you need to have good state management.
Yes.
And then we certainly worked hard against the reintroduction of wolves in Colorado. And it's funny that you bring that up because I live in Colorado and I saw an email today that ranchers have claimed, what's the number? $658,000, in compensation from wolf depredation on livestock.
Wow.
Which is just a staggering figure because the wolves haven't been on the landscape very long, and that's what they've been eating.
They do reproduce rather quickly. Their numbers have grown exponentially in a very short period of time. They should be managed state by state like any other species. And we've actually had Congresswoman Lauren Boebert and Congressman Tom Tiffany on to discuss it. They've co-sponsored a bill together to delist the wolves. And the numbers should be managed by the state because they're going to vary from state to state.
Yeah, and as we said, SCI actually had our member fly into D.C. last month, and we had over 100 SCI members walking the Hill in support of Congresswoman Boebert's and Congressman Tiffany's bill, the Pet and Livestock Protection Act. But the part that I am most proud of is, the Fish and Wildlife Service has, since 2003, tried to downlist or delist gray wolves, and that was in the W. Bush administration, the Obama administration, and the first Trump administration. So this has not been a partisan issue, at least with respect to the Fish and Wildlife Service. But every time the service comes out with this rule, it gets challenged by animal rights groups and anti-hunting groups, and these groups that represent themselves as green groups. And SCI has been there in court. We were actually the first party to appeal the judge's order overturning the most recent delisting, which would have returned all gray wolves in the lower 48 states except the Mexican wolf to state management. So we have really put our efforts behind trying to get a favorable ruling, and we're actually in 6 cases right now. 3 cases to try to overturn the judge's decision to overturn the Fish and Wildlife Service's decision. And then there are 3 cases pending right now to try to get wolves that are already delisted in the Rocky Mountains back on the Endangered Species Act lists. And the logic of that is wild because those wolf populations are in the thousands. And the states of Montana and Idaho have wolf populations much larger than when they were delisted by the Fish and Wildlife Service in 2009 and by Congress in 2011. And yet these animal rights groups say, well, these states are trying to harvest more wolves. They're trying to expand their hunting and trapping programs. And the reason is because they have way more wolves than they had when they were delisted. And those wolves have done quite a number on their elk populations, and their moose populations are gone. Their mule deer populations. I mean, the states are doing this because they're trying to protect the balance of their wildlife populations. And so the changes in state law are really an indication of frustration with how healthy wolf populations are. And yet these groups are trying to get wolves back under federal protection because they're doing so well. It's a crazy logic to me.
What these people fail to realize is the ecosystem is very delicate. And if you're going to reintroduce an apex predator like the wolf, it's really going to change the whole landscape. The deer population, the elk population, and it trickles down to squirrels, rabbits, small game. The wolves are not cuddly, cute animals. They're apex predators. They're natural born killers, and they do kill for sport. So, it's all fun and games until somebody's pet disappears or their child gets attacked, and then they're up in arms.
Well, and they're a harvestable species like any other. And so one of the things SCI stands for is just if you have, a species that's doing really well, that's abundant, we should have that as a hunting opportunity, because that's also how you manage their numbers and keep, as you said, ecosystems are delicate. You have to do some work to keep them in balance. And we can't just rely on Mother Nature to do that anymore, because we human beings have their own Mother Nature out of whack. So now we have to do some of that work ourselves through responsible conservation. And responsible conservation really comes back to well-managed hunting to keep numbers in check and to generate funding.
That is a fact. So what else should we know about the Conservation and Education Center?
Thank you. So as I said, this is going to house our legal advocacy work. So everything we do to defend hunting rights in court, hunting access in court, that ranges from protecting hunter choice on lead ammunition to protecting elk management in Wyoming. We do a lot of work in Alaska to try to keep hunting lands open there from federal agency actions that have shut down hunting access for people who don't live in the immediate area.
Yeah.
We have done a lot of work. For example, we defended the delisting of the Louisiana black bear from the Endangered Species Act list, and we got a successful outcome in that case. And directly as a result of our litigation, last year Louisiana hosted their first hunting season since the 1980s. So we do a lot of work in the legal realm. We also send letters to the Fish and Wildlife Service and the National Park Service and the Forest Service and things like that to try to educate them on the role of hunting. So that's our legal work that we do. Our state work is also going to be housed in the center. So everything our state liaisons do to educate commissions and the public about the role of hunting. For example, we were in Arizona a couple months ago to help support the commission's decision not to ban the hunting with hounds. And part of what we did was, bring information that we have generated from our foundation, which does educational work. So they have data that we could bring. And then just our experience working across the country saying this is how hunting with hounds works. This is how it helps with management practices. So bringing that information to the commission and in more of a public outreach campaign too. So that's our state side. And then, as you mentioned, the Hunters Embassy, SCI's headquarters on Capitol Hill, literally on Capitol Hill, right on the Senate side, 2-minute walk from Union Station or from the Senate office buildings. We do monthly educational programs there, at least monthly, that talk about issues of importance for congressional staff, for other people in the industry, and we're trying to do even more with that space because it really gives us an opportunity to extend our outreach and make sure, you and I were just talking about wolves, make sure people understand, the basics of wolf management, the basics of wolf delisting, the fact that, the Fish and Wildlife Service has tried to remove wolves from the ESA for decades, try to make sure that's out in the public discussion and it doesn't get drowned out by other viewpoints. So we're trying to really use the Hunters Embassy to expand just all of that programming. And we have, I have a ton of ideas with other things we can do with the center. We're we haven't really gone into the realm of videos, for example. But we do have a video about Louisiana black bear coming out soon in partnership with the SCI Foundation. So that's going to give us more social media reach. Maybe people want to see a really great conservation success story, and they want to see images of these bears and this historic bear hunt. So, we'll have things like that the new center will give us the opportunity to work on.
Are these meetings open to the public?
Yes, they are. So we promote them. If you are not already on our email list, we have a advocacy email that goes out every Tuesday. And we let everybody know when we're going to have these lunch and learn programs. So certainly people are more than welcome to knock on the door of the Hunter's Embassy. There's a big sign outside that says Hunter's Embassy. So if you want to come in and have a little respite, I can't believe I failed to mention this. We have a rhino that was shot in Sudan by Teddy Roosevelt. So obviously a very long time ago. But that's our centerpiece of our educational programs there, because it's a real rhino. It came from the Safari Club International Foundation Museum that had been located in Tucson. It has, the story behind it. So we also have, you want to see a really cool piece of hunting history, we have that in the Hunter's Embassy as well.
I'm a big fan of Teddy Roosevelt memorabilia. I live a stone's throw away from Sagamore Hill, which was his summer White House.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess what people really should know is, the NRA is to fighting for gun rights what SCI is for fighting for hunters' rights. Yep. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I think that's really true. And also we work really closely with the NRA. And so we'll get involved, they'll get involved with us if there's a hunting issue that really matters, like wolf delisting, and we'll get involved with them. We are joining them shortly to sue the state of New Jersey over their ban on the possession of suppressors. So we have been involved with them in cases where some sort of state or federal action infringes on a hunter's ability to use a firearm or firearm equipment for hunting. So we will work with them too, and we'll do those sorts of cases where we need to. But yeah, I fully support the analogy. We are the NRA for hunting rights.
Well, when is the center open? Is it open currently, or it's on the verge of?
So it is a functioning not-for-profit, and we soft launched it last week. We'll put out our press release as soon as our website is finished, and hopefully that'll be done tomorrow. But websites always take longer than you expect them
They do.
So the hope is it'll go out tomorrow. It may go out by the end of the week. But yeah, we have we put out our first bit of information. You can see that on Safari Club's website, safariclub.org. And then hopefully we'll send out the formal release to the Outdoor Wire and to you and to everybody else. We have our donate link up. So if anyone wants to support our efforts, we have we take donations of any size and they're tax deductible. But that's a big part of what we're trying to do here. I litigate against these organizations all the time, like Center for Biological Diversity and Defenders of Wildlife, and I'm on all their email lists. And at least once a week I get an appeal. Hey, here's a wolf, a really cute picture of a wolf. Please donate $5 to keep these majestic animals, in high numbers, because we're in court trying to protect them. And I get these emails and I think to myself, this is brilliant marketing, first of all. But secondly, aren't we doing that? Like, why aren't we building the sort of war chest that they have? Because we're fighting the same battles. We're just on the right side. That's really a big part of what the center's going to let us do, is have that sort of outreach and say, hey, we needed all the help we can get to do this. So do you mind giving us your $5? We know it's hard to part with, but we're out in court defending your right to hunt, your right to access, your right to harvest over bait or use a crossbow or whatever it is that we're in court over. Or use a suppressor. We're hoping we're going to start engaging people in the same way that videos of Sarah McLachlan or videos of animals with Sarah McLachlan music behind them has been doing on the other side for a long time.
Well, here's how I see things. The left has, or the antis rather, they have their set narrative, and they have a united front, and they all go with that narrative. They put it out there successfully. They all share the marketing. They're on top of it. We do not. We don't have a united front, because although we all share the same lifestyle and we all love to be out in nature and hunt and camp and whatnot, we're our own worst enemy. And we need to really rectify that. The bow hunters, the crossbow hunters, the rifle hunters would really need to present the united front on our own narrative and put it out there and fight the good fight.
Yeah, I think you're right. We work well together, but we don't coordinate in the same way, and we certainly don't. We haven't figured out the same narrative that they have yet. So I agree with you. But hopefully, I would like to think Safari Club is an organization that can help do that, because as I said, we represent all species, and anywhere you want to do it, be it in the United States or Canada or South America or Africa or wherever, and however you can lawfully do it. And we've been putting our money behind that for over 50 years now.
Well, you're a global organization. It's not just the U.S. based. It's not just Africa based. You're all over. You're fighting the fight that we should all be a part of. Where can we find you, and where can we either join the organization or donate to the organization?
Thank you so much. So it's www.safariclub.org. That's the main organization, the mothership. And then you'll see there's an announcement right on the main page right now for the Center for Conservation Law and Education. And I will have a website for you, but it won't be today. By the end, it should be ccle.safariclub.org, but I don't want to send anybody there yet, because right now it's just like under construction. You get that image on Amazon where it's like a cute dog, like, oh, you've reached somewhere you're not supposed to reach. Like, I don't even think we have that. I think we just have something that says this doesn't work yet. But if you go to the main page, safariclub.org, you'll find information about the center.
All right, maybe you get a picture of a cute elk or something saying, we'll be with you soon.
That's what we need. We definitely, I have a 3.5-year-old, so I have lots of, stuffies with construction equipment in their hands, so I'm sure I can come up with something.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today. Definitely go to the website, contribute to a good cause, to a lifestyle that we're all enamored of. And if you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you so much.